repeatedly declared and demonstrated that their goal is to impose Islamic rule throughout the world by the sword or by the suicide bomb. Numerous radical Islamic scholars have declared that it is every Muslim's religious duty to dominate or exterminate all infidels. What they write and say is what they are going to do. All we have to do is read and listen. The United States has been a prime target for radical Islamic hatred and terror. Every Friday, mosques in the Middle East ring with shrill prayers and monotonous chants that call down death, destruction, and damnation on America and its people. The radical Islamists' deeds have been as vile as their words. Since the Iran hostage crisis, more than 3,000 Americans have died in a terror campaign almost unprecedented in its calculated cruelty, along with thousands of other citizens worldwide. Even the Nazis did not turn their own children into human bombs and then rejoice at their death as well as the death of their victims. This intentional, indiscriminate, and wholesale murder of innocent American citizens is justified and glorified in the name of Islam. And yet, there are still Americans who are unable or unwilling to recognize the nature or the extent of the threat presented by radical Islam, whether motivated by naive wishful thinking or rigid political correctness. They assert that Islam is a moderate, tolerant, and peaceful religion that has been hijacked by extremists. They ignore the repeated calls to jihad, Islamic holy war, emanating from the government-controlled mosques of so-called moderate Islamic countries such as Egypt, Pakistan, and Indonesia. They refuse to accept that in the Muslim world, extreme is mainstream. American citizens have been murdered in this terror war for 30 years. However, America cannot effectively defend itself in this war unless and until the American people understand the nature of the enemy that it faces. Even after 9/11, there are those who say that we must engage our terrorist enemies, that we must address their grievances. Their grievances our freedom of religion. Their grievances our democratic process. Islamic religious authorities and terrorist leaders repeatedly state that they will destroy the United States and Western civilization and replace it with the only true religion, Islam. Unless we take them at their word and defend ourselves accordingly, they will succeed. For the sake of our children and our country, we must wake up and take action. In the face of a torrent of hateful invective and terrorist murder, America's learning curve since the Iran hostage crisis has been so shallow that it is almost flat. The longer we lie supine, the more difficult it will be to stand erect. Like the Christians in Lebanon, Americans today are not realizing the power of the Islamic call to jihad. The Islamic takeover of Iran and its subjugation of Lebanon were strategic victories in Islam's war for world domination. This audiobook is in part my personal story and my observations. It is written in the hope that Americans and the West will recognize this imminent threat to their way of life and make the correct philosophical, legal, governmental policy, and military decisions to protect themselves from suffering the same fate as the Lebanese infidels. Chapter 1. Peace Before the Rage. It's 1978. I'm 13 years old. My family is in the third year of living in this bomb shelter, a tiny underground room that sits off to the side of a bombed-out pile of rubble that was once our beautiful home. Tonight, the shelling is the heaviest it has been in 2.5 years. The three of us, my elderly father and mother and me, sit in the dark on the corner of the bed. We have been trapped in our shelter now for 3 days, and we are out of water. A shell hit near the entrance of our shelter, collapsing a wall of sandbags against our door and imprisoning us inside. We have given up trying to get it open. No one knows we are trapped. For 3 days, we have called out and screamed for help, but we are too far from the road for anyone to hear us amid the explosions. Besides, no one is going to venture outside.